Hi everyone, I'm back with another card. This piece here is cut at 4 3/4 by 3 5/8, and I've just covered it with completely with some pumice stone distress ink. And what I'm going to do now is use some, it's not removable tape on the back of that piece, stick it down to my non-stick craft mat, then grab this mini brick stencil. Don't know what it's called, but I'll put that down in the description. Just going to position it on the cardstock there, about there. I'm going to take some painter's tape and stick it down so it doesn't move on all four sides. I've stuck the non-stick craft mat down to my craft mat as well, so it doesn't move because it's fairly slippery. Now, I've used texture paste, and what I've done is I've sprayed some terracotta walnut ink by Tsuneiko. And it's taken about 8 sprays all up, and that's what it is there. So now what I'm going to do is just cover this piece of cardstock completely with the coloured texture paste, very thinly. So now that's done, I'm going to remove the painter's tape from the stencil only. I'm going to run away and wash the stencil straight away because it is texture paste and it will dry hard and we'll stuff it. So carefully remove that stencil, and you see that's worked brilliantly. So I'll be back. The stencil is called Mini Bricks. I've just had a look. I'm taking this terracotta walnut ink by Tsuneiko again and lightly just spraying that so it's got a bit of texture to it, so it's not just the one colour. There we go. Right, so then I just put that aside to dry and I'll be back. So I stamped this old car. It's from the Nostalgia Classic Cars set by Do Crafts, Paper Mania. That's it there. And what I'm doing now, what did I cut that at? 3 7/8 by 2.5. I'm just taking some antique linen and inking up that white cardstock so it's not so stark. I'm trying to make it look like an old photo. So that's what I'm doing now. Antique linen. Then I'm going to use some vintage photo and then probably finish it up with some walnut stain. So I'll just put it on fast forward while I work this in. I'll probably distress it too, the edges. So just ensuring most of that white core of the cardstock is covered with the walnut stain distress ink. Not all of it's going to be, but that's okay. Now I forgot to tell you I stamped the image using the Ranger Archival ink in coffee. So that's what it looks like there. So we need to put a mat underneath it. So I might do, don't know yet, I'll go away and come back and we'll go from there. So for the sentiment, I've got You're a Classic. I've just printed that off on cardstock, white cardstock, and then I've run it through the Tim Holtz die called Tattered Banners. That's the, what are they called? Decorative strip die. Okay, so I just positioned it on there where I thought it would cut where I needed it to, and it did. And that's what it's turned out like. So now I'm just going to ink it up with the same colour distress inks that I used for the car, which were Antique Linen, Vintage Photo and Walnut Stain. Okay, obviously I should have heat set it first because it's just smeared the ink. It might turn out okay, so I'm not going to get rid of that just yet, so I'll heat set it and then move on. So I've heat set this one, the heat gun. I've let it dry to room temperature, and hopefully we're right to go. And it's not, oh, it is still. Maybe I should leave this overnight or go and print it off on my laser printer. Because that's really not helping. Or spray it. It still should work though. I still should be able to colour it without disturbing too much of the ink. Alright, well let's see how we're going to go. That was the Antique Linen. Now we've got the Vintage Photo. That's not too bad. So what I then did was cut a piece of black cardstock to set the old car on, and I cut it at 2 9/16 by 4 inches. What I'm going to do is get some, I might glue it there first. I'm not going to have it glued all that right to the edge because I want it sort of sitting up. So center it on here. About there should do it. And then what I'm going to do is take some brads and probably poke one in each corner. Okay, so that one's going to stick up a little bit like that. Right, I'll go and check to see how the background bricks are going. More than one way to beat it. Skin a cat. This is instead of waiting for the ink to dry completely so it doesn't smudge when I apply it to a printed piece of cardstock, I'm just colouring it in just down the centre Now, the text I'm using, see, I'm just using Word, and the text is Old English Text, MT, and it's at 28 point. And I've just got them in text boxes and copied and pasted them down the middle of the page. I could probably do more, like left to right, but don't think I'll be making that many cards. So this way, all I need to worry about is adding the vintage photo, which is more or less around the edges anyway. So this will do. And I'll run that through the printer and already done. Just taking my paper piercer and punching a hole, just eyeballing it. Probably about 1/4 of an inch in both edges. And then just taking some small black brads and pushing them through. I probably could have done this to the before I attached the top layer to the black. That way the brads could have been hidden between the two layers. Then I could have probably, but this is going to be pop dotted up anyway, I think, because of the texture paste background, so that's okay. So that's what we have there now. So when I make a card, I do multiple of the same design. And if I don't like it in the end, well, you know, you get that. But if I do, then I've got quite like enough cards to put aside. So there's 2, halfway through another one, so I'll be back. So with this one, and I think I'm going to use this, but I think I might just darken those edges a little bit more with some walnut stain. Now I could use brads on these, but I don't think I'm going to. What I'm going to do is just curl it. So give it a bit of dimension there, and then I'll just put some wet glue on and stick it down to that black cardstock, which is measured at 4 inches by 5/8. So what I'm going to do, I'll put some on there and on here and stick it down. Now, and there, a little bit more, so I've got it just sticking up slightly, like that. Okay. Now I could put some brads in there, but you probably won't see them too well. I could put some metallic ones in there, but I haven't used metal colours in this anyway so far, so I don't think I'll add another colour to the mix. So I'm still waiting on the brick textured background to dry before I continue on, so I'll be back. Just doing the stamping the sentiment, the inside sentiment now. I'm just doing Happy Father's Day, Dad. And this set is a Simon Says stamp set called Father's Day. it's pretty much got everything you need, I reckon, this stamp set. I really like it. I've used it a lot on Father's Day cards. So this is a bit splotchy, so I could, if I wanted to, go over that with some black marker, and I might, but because it's a distressed card and it's, you know, you're a classic, I think I could just probably leave it at that. But what I will do is ink around the edges first before I adhere it to the inside of the card. The card base is a black cardstock card base, so that's why the need for this one. And it's a cream, so it's going to go in there like that. And this one here, I thought I'd just break it up with a bit of cream, but also just ink the edges slightly with some walnut stain. I wanted to put some terracotta colour or an earthy orange colour between the black card base and this one, but I didn't have any, so that will just have to do. I'm just inking the edges of the brick textured piece. So that one is going to go on there, and then we'll have this one. I've already put 3D foam on that. Now what I thought I'd do is bring it up to the top left corner there, and then put this one down the bottom right, because I think offset that looks better than in the middle, because there's not an even amount of space top to bottom as there is left to right. So that's what I'm going to do there. So I'll just apply some double-sided tape to this and stick it all down, and we're done. I could put double-sided tape on the back of that, but I'm just going to be lazy and put some wet glue on it. Might be better anyway, sticking to the directly to the textured brick piece. And voila, you're a classic. Happy Father's Day, Dad. Now you could replace the Happy Father's Day, Dad, to Happy Birthday, Dad. Well, thanks, Dad. So there we go. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.